I am the first Black Cabinet Secretary for Veteran Services. I was appointed under Michelle Lujan Grisham. And it just goes to show you never know who's looking at you and paying attention. I was recruited to work at the Department of Health because of my background in healthcare. I'm a healthcare administrator. I am a combat medic, so I worked at the Department of Health right at the beginning of COVID. And it was my job to help shape policy. It was my job to go into the nursing homes and do infection prevention and control. And it was absolutely heartbreaking because of what was going on with families. Families could not come in. So we are 259 days from the June primary. 259 days. That may seem like a long time, but actually it's really not a long time. I have two opponents that are county clerks. So the question is, why are you leapfrogging from your state position? Because historically, that position has been held by people who have been county clerks. Well, I ain't never done nothing the way everybody else has done it. Let me just say that, okay? I believe that my experience with the state, and certainly as a cabinet secretary, more than qualifies me for this position. That means I know how to run a state agency. I know how to defend budgets and present budgets. I know how to negotiate with legislatures, not just on the state level, but also at the federal level. I have developed a proven track record of success because as a veteran, it's important for me to make sure that we're taking care of the people who took care of us. I am running because these aren't usual times, and the election that we just had last year has proven that to us. We don't need usual leadership. We need bold leadership. And what I mean by that is standing up for what's right, but also paying attention to what's going on and being able to forecast what's going on. And it doesn't really take a whole lot to do that now. We know that there are operatives who are working hard to change this state red. There are conversations going on right now to make that happen. There are deals that are being made. And what I did was I upset the apple cart a little bit. Surprise. Because I believe our democracy is not for sale. I believe that at the end of any day, there are still very decent people here who want to see what's right with our country and more importantly in New Mexico. Yes, we are leading on so many fronts when it comes to voter education and voter access and voter rights, but we cannot rest on our laurels with this. I've spent the last week looking at past budgets that have been presented and the relationships that I have with our state legislatures. I'll be able to go in and show them why we need more money, because we hear a lot about technology and how technology is going to continue to impact our voting apparatus. That is a major concern. And right now, we have to just keep in mind that they still need us to make those decisions. And so as we look at why we're moving a certain way or making certain decisions about things, I'm going to ask questions. Let's talk about if someone, let's say in this administration that's in the White House right now, starts to demand our voter records. No, you cannot have our voter records. And there's nothing legally that says we have to turn that over. All of the conjecture that we continue to hear about these executive orders, let me be really clear with you, are not applicable here in New Mexico because they're presidential executive orders. The only executive orders that matter here come from the governor's office. Let me say that louder for the people in the back, okay? So what I need you to do is to be champions out there and educate people on why this is important, because people are running on fear. They are running on fear. But now, all y'all educated, okay? So let's talk about the other aspects of the Secretary of State's office. We talk a lot about voting and why that's important, But there's some other components, key components about the Secretary of State's office that are also really critical right now. The Secretary of State's office is responsible for developing businesses, helping businesses develop, notary publics, articles of incorporation. Right now, people are losing their jobs every day. They're thinking about entrepreneurship. We need to let people know where to go because economic development is still very critical. We know that small businesses are still very critical. They're still the backbone of our nation. But a lot of people don't know that about the Secretary of State's office. I have been trying my best to educate. I've been doing videos every day. I think I took a little bit of a break because I think I was getting on everybody's nerves recently. But I hit like maybe 60 reels on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, because it's important for you to know the other aspects of this office. The experience that I have, not just from the state, but also as a career administrator, will serve this office well. I will surround myself with the best and brightest because any leader knows that you can't do it by yourself. And I'm not saying that I can do it by myself. I want people who are smarter than me in the room, helping me to make decisions. And we're all saying the same thing about fighting. What does that mean? What does that look like? That is evaluating and making critical decisions and sometimes very hard decisions that are unpopular. And I don't mind doing that if it protects your right to vote